Hey everybody, it's Jolly John, and welcome back to my channel. And I'm back with another recap kind of reflection video for week two of my 100-day project. And if you haven't seen the first week's video, first of all, go check that out. And also welcome back to the channel. Forgot to say that up top. But I am doing the 100-day project, which again is just to pick something creative and do it every day for 100 days. And I've decided to do mixed media Twinchies. And a Twinchie is a 2 inch by 2 inch square. Excuse me. And yeah, so, and then I am doing mine based on prompts, and they're just prompts that I thought of or found or came up with or used a random word generator, etc. And I've actually collected, I think, over about 100, 250 of them currently. And I'm using a random number generator to pick my theme for each day. So yeah, so this was week two, and I really like several of these that I think will probably be some of my favorites from the whole project by the end. But yeah, and I also think I I got into more of a rhythm this week. So mm, I I mentioned last week that I work very long hours during the week typically. So I was a little nervous about being able to do this because I usually only do art stuff on the weekends when I have time. And so, but it's been a really nice to kind of push myself. And like I said, I've gotten into kind of a rhythm where I'll wake up in the morning and I will figure out what the prompt is, and then I will sort of start generally. So I'll either stamp the back, stamp the back with the date, the day, and the theme, and then get out some of my materials that I think I want to use, and then go to work. And then when I come home, I'll usually often actually make the project. So yeah, it's been working out pretty well, and I've really enjoyed doing it. The tricky thing is that obviously it's still winter. I'm recording this on Saturday, March 7th. 2026. So actually, daylight savings is tomorrow, which might help. But basically, it's winter, and so I'm working in the dark, both in the morning and in the evening, and it makes it kind of tricky to take some good photos because in addition to these videos, each week I am sharing photos of each day's make on my over on my Instagram account. So, but that's a minor thing. But the actual making every day, I'm really enjoying. So, with all that out of the way, let's go through what I made this week. So, this one was really fun. So, the prompt for day 8, which was last Sunday, it was wig. And so, this was for March 1st. And this is what I made. And this just makes me very, very happy. So yeah, just to sort of walk through what this is. So the background is actually just a piece of Italian Florentine paper that I got from Kate Marshall at Inked Paper Art. And yeah, and then the photo is one of my cabinet cards that I've scanned and shrunk down. And then I've been doing you'll see very much this trick that I learned from Tim Holtz, of putting the packing paper over the photo, which kind of makes it glossy again, and I think kind of darkens the color, makes it look like a real photo again. So, and then the wig, which is the centerpiece, obviously, is so it's from a stamp set that I have from Jane Davenport, and sort of these like a set of 6 sort of pinup faces, I guess heads, because that has the hair, and they have 6 different sort of retro hairstyles. And so I ended up stamping it out, and I knew I wanted it to be, obviously not very realistic. So um, I found actually, so I ordered these square punches a long time ago, and they came with just this, like, I guess freebie in the box, which was these little, what I thought was cardstocks, pieces of cardstock, but they're actually like kind of a plasticky sticker sheets, sticker paper, but they're in these wild neon colors, and so yeah, so basically I stamped the stamp, and in a black, I used VersaFine Clair, and then I used a black embossing powder, since obviously the VersaFine Clair did not want to dry on this. Again, it was sort of plasticky, so, and then he set that, and then cut this out and just put it on. And then I found some words in my stash, his hair fantasy, and so I love this. I really love this. I actually can see, again, I have five other stamps with five other hairdos. So this might, either during this challenge or after this challenge, become a little series. I'm already picturing doing, six of these, and then maybe mounting them to like a board or something, assemblage style. So, but yeah, but I had a lot of fun with this one. I really enjoyed this. And something I'm enjoying about the challenge in general is that I don't do a lot of stamping these days, but I have a lot of stamps collected. So just you trying to meet the prompts and keep things interesting has encouraged me to sort of dig out more of my stamps and use them, which has been really fun. So that is day 8 wig. And then the prompt for day 9 for March 2nd was owl. And this is what I ended up with for owl. So the body obviously is from one of my cabinet cards that I already printed out. And then the head is, I have a sort of vintage notebook, and in the back is this random advertisement for, I don't even remember what it was, I think it's for a brewery or something actually. So but it had a big owl head on it, or a big owl on it. And so again, I scanned it and shrunk it down and cut it out, and then just put the owl head over the cabinet card gentleman's head. Sorry, the focusing is not going well. Maybe I'll hold it farther away. And then for the background, I just used a scrap of this handmade Japanese paper that I get from Chanel at Bitter Melon Bindery, that looked, foresty to me. And then I had these words from the vintage hymnal that I've been getting a lot of words out of, and his eye is on the sparrow. And since it was focusing on the eyes, and obviously owls are known for their big eyes, I had actually pretty much completed this in the morning, before work. And so uh, what before I left for work, I took two little jump rings, and put them right over the eyes, and then filled them with glossy accents. And then when I came home in the evening, they were dry, and I had this, which I think is very cute. Maybe next time, if I were to do something like this again, I'd probably maybe pick um, maybe a more subtle background, because I think he gets a little bit lost in this very beautiful background. But in general, I'm really happy with how this came out, and just kind of very quirky and cute. And so, again, that was day 9, and the prompt was owl. Day 10 was March 3rd, and this one, and the theme is poppy. And this one, again, I just, you know, let it be simple. That's what I'm trying to do with this challenge too, is to just let it be simple. And so I had this paper flower that I made a long time ago, a couple years ago now, for as part of an art journal spread, and I had some extras. And so basically, I was just practicing making flowers out of paper ruffles, so book page ruffles. And I had this, and it was red with a black center, and it's just been sitting in my stash for a couple years. And I was like, well, boom, there you go, poppy. So I just grabbed a scrap of this is sort of vintage paper that I had sprayed with one of my acrylic sprays, and I just had a scrap of it, and it was the perfect size, since obviously not a lot is going to show anyway. And then, honestly, the thing that took me the longest was finding a couple words that seemed to somewhat make sense with a poppy theme. But yeah, very simple, very quick, but I think pretty effective and hopefully reads poppy. So again, day 10, poppy. And then day 11, the prompt was birthday. So, and this was March 4th. And this is what I came up with. So the background is a page of is a scrap of vintage book page, and then I stamped over it with a purple VersaFine Clair and just a polka dot stamp that I have from a Tim Holtz Easter set or Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, I think set. Um, and then I outlined it and did the splatter with kind of like a lime green color, and then uh, got this young gentleman with the incredible neck bow as and yeah, used him as my focal point. And then these are just Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous stamp set that just has a lot of like things around holidays and such. The bow tie that I used in one of last week's makes also came from this stamp set. So it's just a bunch of sort of random elements that was really helpful to have. Um, and I just stamped that out of vintage book page that I had brayered over with, um, I think, a Twisted Citron acrylic paint, the distress paint. And yeah, just stamped on that. And then I found this was surprising for the words. So this was a surprise birthday party for this young man. And yeah, I this came out really fun. This was also me. I love how simple these backgrounds are with just one piece of paper, but it was also kind of fun to do something more interesting and more altered in the background. So I think that's hopefully going to be a theme going forward as well. So again, that was day 11, birthday for March 4th. Day 12, which was March 5th, the theme was tape. And so this is where this ended up. And these last three were I really enjoy how they came out. In terms of I like the design, but I also really like the serendipity of them, I guess you could say. So something that I did last year was the Full Deck Challenge 3, hosted by Shinuki Art. And one of the rules for that challenge was to have a carryover item from each week that you used in your altered playing card. And I really enjoyed that challenge, and I thought about incorporating that into this, but I'm trying not to give myself too many rules and too many limiting things. So, but as you'll see, these next three sort of almost naturally had a carryover, which was fun. So, anyway, long story, even longer. The theme for this one was tape, and so I just picked out some washi tapes from my stash that I thought were pretty thin, since obviously it's a small area, and would go together. Um, Again, the danger of mostly working in the really early morning or at night is that it's very hard to see, even with some lights on. So I did think this one, so I think this one is a red and green stripe, and I thought it was a blue and red stripe, sort of like this one. So I'm glad I ended up with only a little bit on the front, since the rest of this is all very like blue, brown, pink. But I think it works anyway. And so again, just very simply used the washi tape, created stripes, and then this guy is actually from vintage photo, and it's a triptych. So it's him in three different sort of poses. And so that was easy to sort of print out. And then I had three figures. And so this was one of them. And I feel like, especially for the vintage photos and the cabinet cards, it's very rare to see anyone smiling. So I wanted to use that as the theme of how I picked the words, which were how happy I would be. And yeah, and then again, made him glossy by putting the packing tape over him, which I guess is a bonus tape. It fits the prompt in a bonus way. And then next up, um, day 13, the prompt was smoke for March 6th, so yesterday. And this guy's back. So, like I said, he was in three different poses, and one of them was him smoking a cigar while reading a pamphlet. And I was like, oh, well, I already have him printed out. He's smoking, so there you go. And so I went back and forth about how I wanted to do the background or what I wanted in the background, because obviously what I wanted was the smoke to come through. Excuse me. Was the smoke to come through. Oh, excuse me, that did not help. 1 second. Okay, I am back. So sorry about that, and sorry for your ears. We are getting into spring, so the allergies are allergying. Um, and so anyway, yes. So I just decided to go with a very simple black background, and I just used actually a black acrylic marker to make this black, and then I used a white gel pen to draw the smoke. And then I, I couldn't really think of what a good word would be, so I just went with temptation, since he's a smoker. So yeah, and again, did the tape trick, but yeah, so it was like, oh, we have a carryover item. Basically, is this gentleman in the last two, and then the most recent one, which was today as I'm filming this, day 14, March 7th, theme was black and white. And so obviously we already had some black and white going on here. So again, it felt like there was an inadvertent carryover prompt, and I really love how this one turned out. This is definitely the heaviest one I've made so far. But this is my interpretation of black and white. And so, again, what I was saying about the stamp. So basically, I took a black and white vintage book page, put that down first, and then I have an Art by Marlene stamp set that has both this little frame and this little flowers. It's just sort of a collection of different like textures and background stamps that are small. And so I put that down. I stamped the frame in the center, and then I used this little flower stamp and stamped all around it. And then what the centerpiece is actually just this cameo, and I believe this was a pair of earrings that I got from Jess at Blueberry Falls Vintage. And I just pulled off the backing and just glued it down with some E6000. And yeah, so a bit heavy for for a Twinchie, but I love the look and I love how it sits. The size was just perfect for this little frame. And then for the words, I pulled the shades of night. And so I just love how stark, and I love how the stamps obviously came from the same stamp set, so they work together without being, identical. And so yeah, love, love, love how this one came out. So again, day 14, today, March 7th, black and white. And yeah, so again, I'm hoping to do some more of these sort of like assemblage style Twinchies as well. So yeah, so that's my week 2. Still going strong, still really enjoying playing every day and using materials that I haven't used before and different techniques. And so, yeah, thank you again so much for stopping by and for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope you have a great week. And I will be back next weekend with what I made for week 3. Thanks so much. Bye.